Hi, I wanted to give you a little introduction to week 3 of the BUSN 6640 Financial Management class. The activity this week is the first quiz, and it runs from June 25th to June 30th. It covers all the material in weeks 1 and 2. That's accounting, review, pro formas, and present value. 70 points of it are online, and that's the June 25th to June 30th period. There's also 30 points in an essay exam, and this will get you ready for the final exam, which will be entirely essay. I'll send it out in a day or so. It'll be due July 2nd. It's got a slightly different deadline, and the way I work it is I don't stay up till midnight to see who turns stuff in or doesn't. So effectively it's early on the morning of July 3rd, so whenever I get up is, I guess, the deadline on July 3rd. I've sent out a practice worksheet, and people are discussing that. It has, I don't know, 8 or 9 problems, mostly present value stuff, and then a pro forma section. Now, in the discussion, you're welcome to post exact answers for the practice worksheet problems, but not the pro formas. The pro forma part is going to be exactly what you're going to find on the quiz. So do the pro forma ahead of time. You can post ranges in the discussion for the pro forma, but not exact answers. When I send out the essay portion, the way it's set up is there's 5 short questions and then 2 longer ones. I don't want any discussion of the first 5 questions and only a discussion of the last 2, the present value and the pro forma question. Again, no exact answers of essay questions, just post ranges, and ideally don't put the exact answer in the middle of the range. That kind of defeats the purpose of this kind of ambiguity that I'm trying to build into the discussion. If you're having questions on this material, post to the discussion, write me, do something. The class goes fast. You don't want to fall behind. To get ready for week 3, we combine the cash flow information or material from week 1, the accounting review, and the present value techniques we learned in week 2 to do something called NPV analysis. And this is how we find out which investments will create value for the firm or create shareholder value. When the NPV, net present value, is positive, that indicates that a project is a good investment, and it means that firm value will increase. And the way we compute the net present value is we compute the value of the future cash flows, and then we subtract the initial investment. How much does it cost to build the factory, buy the initial materials, that sort of stuff. And cash flow is defined in a very specific way, incremental after-tax cash flows. I go through this in pretty elaborate detail in the lectures, so be sure, just memorize this phrase, incremental after-tax cash flows. Incremental is the change with the project less without the project, so that's the increment. After tax, well, I guess that's clear, right? And cash flows. So what we're really doing here is we're computing the cash flows that are available to equity holders. After-tax cash flows, right? And we're doing it on a with/without basis. That is, what does the company look like with the project versus without? Now, we won't value the whole company with the project and without. We'll just look at how much it's going to add on an incremental basis. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing in week 3. So you got two things kind of happening this week, the quiz plus learning this new material. So allocate your time appropriately. One of the things that I should spend probably more time on is where do positive NPV projects come from. And I think it's real important for you to think about the economics of NPV and positive NPV. You know from your economics class that over time, competitive entry will eliminate all supranormal profits. So in order to have positive net present value projects, we need to keep that entry from occurring. So we need barriers to entry. But we also need the ability to be able to maintain a relatively high profit margin. because people like the product that we are producing so well because of its style or color or something like that. They're willing to pay a little extra for it. So we have to figure out ways to maintain that higher than normal profit margin, and that really requires innovation. Now, one of the things that doesn't ever produce a positive NPV are any goods that become commodities, computer chips, say. And the commodification of your product is really a tragedy in terms of creating shareholder wealth. So if you're producing, say, sugar or flour or something like that, you just can't earn very much of a premium, high profit margin, because people buy it based mainly on price. I mean, it's a few people, they want C&H sugar rather than generic sugar, but the price differential is really pretty small. And what we see is that there's a lot of effort to create these generic brands, undercut the brand name, and commodify goods. And you want to figure out how to avoid that, because you can't create the value-creating product if it turns into a commodity that people only buy on price. Then you're just going to earn the so-called normal profit, minimum profit, to stay in business. The other thing that I want to kind of warn you about that's coming up is on June 30th, the first part of the company analysis project is due. This is a very flexible due date. You can turn the whole thing in at the end of the term, but if you're going to do that, you should probably let me know that's your plan. I also think it's a bad plan because there's a lot of other stuff happening. You got a big exam. The instructions for the company analysis project are in the syllabus. The syllabus is posted. I think I emailed it, and there's a syllabus section in the course website, so I think you can find those instructions. It's just the first part that's due, the governance, CEO pay, board independent stuff. Anyway, have a great week. Good luck on the exam. I'm sure everybody's going to do well. And post or ask questions early. Let's make sure everybody's successful on this first quiz. Thanks. Bye-bye.